The other thing that happened, Snopes versus Brown. Has to do with the Maryland assault weapons ban. Snopes is, so there's a couple of different assault weapons lawsuits out there right now. Miller here in California, which we've had two big wins, but it's now being, as we heard from John last week, it's being stalled, and they're waiting for some other lawsuits to finalize before they do a final decision on the Miller case. But Snopes in Maryland versus Brown, that is going the right direction. It's extremely important. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm very optimistic. So Maryland tried to delay it. Basically, Maryland said, "Hey, wait a minute," because the Supreme Court said, "Hey, we need you to answer a bunch of questions. We need to send us some more paperwork and responses, etc." Maryland tried to delay it. They were like, "We're not so interested. Why don't we just wait? We kind of got a lot going on." And the Supreme Court said, "All right, well, here, we'll give you a little bit more time." They said, it's not really a priority for us, so we need even more time. And so FPC said, "No, screw that. You guys have had enough time.
Plenty of time.
And if Supreme Court, all due respect, if you allow them to delay it, then it'll be delayed for another year, not just for a couple of weeks, because you guys have deadlines." And the Supreme Court agreed. They said, "You're right. Maryland, you guys have had plenty of time. You've been working on this for years. So you need to get us the paperwork by X date."
Did they give him like a month or something? I remember it being a short time.
They asked for a month, and they said, "Nope, you only get a few weeks because we have a deadline."
Okay.
So finally, everything's in place, and the Supreme Court, they have everything that they need to look at this. And I think it's December 12th. They're actually going to take a look at all this and say, "Okay, these are the cases we're going to take. These are the cases we're not going to take." But finally, all the dominoes are in the right place, and they could fall our way. They may or may not take it. I don't want to, it's no guarantee. They get thousands of cases to look at, but this looks really good.
Say it's really promising that they are leaning that way and didn't give in to the delay request.
Exactly right. We'll know by the end of December. So what exactly is the case? So there's no real district split exactly. One of the reasons that the Supreme Court looks at cases is one district will say yes and the other district will say no. We don't exactly have that here, which is, that would be definitely a positive towards them wanting to review the case, and take the case and make a decision. But this is, frankly, I think this is just as strong. The semi-auto ban in Maryland is so clearly against the Heller and so clearly against McDonald, of course, and so clearly against Bruin that basically, and that's the case that FPC is making. They're basically saying, hey, this is, even though there's no split, this is so clearly in violation of these other decisions that we need you to take this case. We need you to slap Maryland down and say, hey, this full-on ban of an entire classification of commonly owned weapons is wrong. There's no history of tradition of banning an entire class of firearms like this. You can't ban an entire category. ARs are in common use. AKs are in common use. This is clearly addressed in other decisions. So there's no split exactly, but it's so extreme. It's such an egregious, horrible law. That they're saying, hey, look, you guys are clearly violating everybody's rights. Therefore, we need you to take this case. So cross your fingers. Keep listening to us. We'll let you know if they're going to take this case. If they take it, they'll hear the arguments at some point over the next 4 or 5 months, and they'll probably give a decision somewhere around June is usually when they give these decisions. None of this is guaranteed, but this is a big step in the right direction for what I feel is it's probably it's one of the most important things that needs to happen in the Second Amendment. At least it's another extremely important next step. So, all right, and that is all you need to know this week.